Alright, so we are back for another Dokkan battle video, and we did get the data download for the batch of heroes characters. As you can see, we got the data download for the summonable units, the EZAs, some free-to-play units, and then some awakenings as well. So a lot of stuff to go over. Well, not really a whole lot. We're not going to go over the summonable units because we already went over them in a video earlier today. So if you want to check that out, then I'll make sure I leave a link to that on the screen so you can click on that. But in this video, we're just going to be going over the free-to-play units and then some of the EZA units and all that. So just to get into the EZA units, shout out to Minato for translations. Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. I heard he's pretty good, so I got some pretty high expectations here. His leader skill is crossover, category key +3, HP and attack and defense plus 180%. Pretty good. I think 180% is pretty useful as a lead for that category, but if you have the 200% leader skills, definitely use those, obviously. Super attack effect is that he greatly raises defense for 1 turn, immense damage. Really good, 50% defense for 1 turn. We like to see that. I would recommend giving him at least a little bit of additionals just because of that, but keep in mind, he is also physical, so he's got the base 5 additional. And then his passive is that he gets 180% attack and defense start of turn. Okay, pretty good. And then he gets 60% attack and defense on super. So then that, alongside 50% from his super attack effect, is going to make this guy really good for slot 2 and 3. So then maybe having this guy next to the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito or like Super Saiyan 4 Goku already looks like a pretty good rotation. And then also this guy's supporting, so now it's 1 key to crossover and 30% to stats. And then grade 8 power, same thing, 1 key and 30% to stats. So if you run this guy next to Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, dude, he's supporting him for 2 key and 60% to stats. Yeah, that rotation is going to be godly. And then this guy's getting 5% damage reduction. Really? Damage reduction. Okay. We love to see it. Per Giant 8 power crossover category ally on the team. Alright, man. I'm liking his design. So what? You can run up to 6 units on a team. So that's 5 times 6. It was that 30% damage reduction. So 30% damage reduction. And then he's getting all of these stats on super. And he's got this high chance to nullify enemies' super attacks. Dude, Vegito's cooking. He's got so many good spots in the game already. Like I said, you could run him next to the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You could run him next to the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. A lot of spots for this guy, so he's definitely looking really good. We don't really need to go over his link set. He's got Sand Roar, so that's definitely a good thing. And then next up, we do have... Who do we have next? Super Saiyan 4 Broly. I mean, same thing with the Vegito, really. He's on a lot of the same setups, so this guy could be very useful in terms of, like, rotations you can run him on. So, definitely looking forward to this. So, his leader skill, grade 8 power, category key +3, 150%, we don't care. Super attack effect, greatly raises attack and then raises defense for 1 turn. Keep in mind, he is not stacking attack. That's just 50% attack and then also 30% defense for 1 turn. And then he causes immense damage to enemy and then greatly lowers defense. And then the, yeah, okay, so Minato specified the attack and defense raise are both for 1 turn. So he's not stacking attack. It's just 50% attack and then 30% defense for 1 turn. And then his passive is that he gets 150% attack and defense on super. Okay, does he have any start of turn stats? So he gets 2 key additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super when there's another grade 8 power category ally in the same turn. So yeah, run him with, the other Super Saiyan 4 units. He gets an additional super if all allies in the same turn belong on the grade 8 power category. Okay. And then 30% attack and defense up to 150% with every super performed. Dude. Really? Why are we fumbling Super Saiyan 4 Broly? The Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Broly, this guy, they got an issue with Broly or something? Because this, I mean, it's not bad, but this is not what we needed whatsoever. I mean, damage reduction, guard, dodge, something, but he's got none of that. I mean, when he's fully built up, don't get me wrong, he's going to look good. You get this on super, and you get this on super, and then you have this start of turn, and we're talking about additionals, which you're going to be able to get most of the time because you're running him around Super Saiyan 4 units. Don't get me wrong, he's going to be great in slot too, but an AoE, getting sealed, getting stunned, getting locked, any of that could easily nullify this guy. So, not a big fan of his design whatsoever, but it's not to say he's completely useless. He's going to have some pretty good spots, especially if you, build up with him. But I recommend probably dodge and additionals. I think that's probably the best build for this guy. And then next up, who do we have? Oh, Demon Goddess Towa. Actually, you know what? I'm looking forward to her. She could be a really good support. So, her leader skill, we don't care, 150%. Super attack effect is that she's raising attack for 1 turn, causes immense damage to enemy, lowers attack, and seals. A lot of good stuff for Super Battle Road. Okay, we like to see that. Her passive is that she gets 180% to stats, all allies, 3 key, and 40% attack and defense. Yes. Yeah, we like that. We like that. All allies, too. So it doesn't matter. You throw her on whatever extreme class team you want. You throw her on whatever random category that absolutely sucks. She's supporting everyone for 40% the stats in 3 key. Really, really good. And then also, she's got the high chance to support for another 10% attack and then another 10% defense. So with good RNG, that is 50% attack and defense in 3 key to everyone. Yes, really good. Now, I hope she's good defensively, but that in and of itself is still very useful for her. So she's got a high chance to dodge when HP is 50% or above. Okay, I guess. She gives extreme class allies 60% attack and defense and then recovers 50% HP when HP is 50% or less once only. Okay. And then 40% the stats up to 120% every time this character evades an attack. I don't think I need to say this, but yeah, full dodge. Like, full dodge. I don't want to see a single additional on her. I don't want to see a single crit. I'm talking everything dodge. I don't care that some of the hidden potential nodes you can't put dodge in. Just find a way to put dodge in it because this is a full dodge unit. And with a full dodge build on her, dude, you flow her in slot 3. She's going to be an insane support and she's going to build up pretty quickly. So definitely a really good unit. I think she could have been better defensively, but am I really going to complain about that? No, because she's an amazing support. And if you go full dodge with her, she's going to be dodging most of the attacks anyway because she already has built-in dodge. Also, she's a Thirst for Conquest unit, so she's going to work very good on a lot of extreme class teams. So, really impressed with Towa. I think they handled her perfectly. Just making her a good support is exactly what we needed. I mean, she already was a good support, but, doubling down on that, definitely very useful. So, now we've got the Demon God Demigra. I vaguely remember this guy being a Super Battle Road unit, so I don't have that much hope for this guy, but I guess we'll see. So, Leader Skill, 4 key, 150%. Super Attack Effect, greatly raises defense for 1 turn, causes immense damage to enemy with a high chance to stun. 50% defense is nice, high chance to stun, good for, like I said, Super Battle Road. And then his passive is that he gets 3 key, 150% to stats, an additional 150% to stats, and then performs an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super. And the attacked enemy's attack and defense minus 35% for 2 turns when facing only 1 enemy, okay? Normally we like the debuffs when facing multiple enemies because then Super Battle Road, but okay, whatever. And then he gets 150% to attack when the target enemy is in attack down status. Another 100% attack, 200% defense, high chance to dodge, and then 50% attack, and then reduces damage received by 10% for each enemy from the 3rd enemy onward. Oh, never mind. I thought that was pretty good if you get 10% damage reduction per enemy because, that's always 10% damage reduction. Maybe, you get a couple additional supers off with him in slot 2. This guy could be cooking, but no. I mean, unless we get content that has, 10 enemies, then I guess maybe this guy could be good in there because then we're going to have 70% damage reduction. But other than that, not really that many spots to run this guy outside of Super Battle Road or any event with a lot of enemies. And, I think most of you probably know it's not that common in the game right now. Most events is only 1 enemy. So this guy, unfortunately, it's not going to be that useful. But in some scenarios, you might find some use for him because he's an extreme class unit on some really weak teams. So that in and of itself makes him somewhat good for him not being complete trash. I'll say that. And then next up, we've got this guy right here. This is the villain in Xenoverse 1. Demigra. Yeah, I'll just say Demigra. I forgot. That's his name. So leader skill, 130%. Don't care. Super attack effect is that he greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn. Causes supreme damage to enemy. Passive is that he gets 140% to stats. An additional 70% to stats on super. Extreme class allies, 4 key and 40% defense. Huh. Alright. You know what? I'll take it. I don't see any guard damage reduction or dodge in his kit, just skimming over the rest of his EZA, but you know what? That's not bad. Him being a support for extreme class allies is still very useful. There's no attack in there, but it's 4 key, so I'd say that kind of makes up for it. So definitely very good at that. And then also this guy is debuffing all enemies for 30% attack and defense. Definitely a nice little debuff for Super Battle Road. He gets an additional 20% attack per crossover category ally on the team, and then 10% defense per extreme class ally on the team. I mean, yeah, you run him on, Realm of Gods with all the Zamasus and Goku Blacks or Time Travelers. Yeah, he could be pretty good. He's on stored figures as well, which really sucks. So, definitely some potential with this guy. If you run him in the right setup, I think he could definitely be pretty good for extreme class teams. And then next up, we've got the STR Super Mira. So, leader skill, 130%, don't care. Super attack effect is that he's greatly stacking defense. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Greatly raises attack for 1 turn, causes supreme damage to enemy. Passive is that he gets 200% attack, 100% defense, disables enemy's guard, and then gets an additional 50% to attack and defense on super. And then if all allies in the same turn are Dragon Ball Heroes category allies, he gets 2 key and then a guaranteed additional super, which is really good because, of course, he is stacking defense. And then the attacked enemies, attack and defense minus 30% for 2 turns. Sorry, I don't know why I got stumped there for a second. And then he gets another 100% attack and then great chance to crit when the enemy is in attack down or defense down status. Okay. Yeah, he's alright. I mean, he's a stacker, so if you get really lucky with additionals and, you know, you're getting a bunch of supers in real early, he can look pretty good in the event. But this guy is geared more towards long content, I think, because he also has some super battle road qualities. So, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed with this guy. I don't really know where you're supposed to run him, but he's stacking. So, in long content, obviously, he's going to be useful. So, definitely some pretty good, you know, value with his EZA right there. All right, we got two more. So we got the Dark Masked King. This is just King Vegeta. He's on some pretty good teams as well, actually. Stored Figures, Crow to Body and Mind, Vegeta Family. Oh my god, don't get me started on the Vegeta Family disrespect. So definitely want this guy to be good. Leader skill, Dragon Ball Heroes, Extreme Int, 130% the stats. His super attack effect is that he raises defense for 1 turn, causes immense damage to enemy, greatly lowers attack and defense. All right, pretty good super attack effect right there between the 30% defense and the debuff. And then his passive is that it gets 2 key, 150% the stats, an additional 150% defense for 5 turns after receiving an attack, 50% attack up to 150% with every attack received, and then he gets the 100% defense, and then guaranteed guard when there's another Dragon Ball Heroes category ally in the same turn, and then he recovers 10% of damage dealt as HP. Alright, yeah, he's great. I mean, this is how you should probably handle these units. I'm not a huge fan of it being restricted to Dragon Ball Heroes category ally, but because it's only one ally on the team, so if you run this next to, I don't know, who's his best linking partner? Probably another Dragon Ball Heroes unit. So you run him next to him, hopefully they're good, and then you got a solid rotation right there, and then you can run that rotation on whatever team. So doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a full Dragon Ball Heroes team, just one Dragon Ball Heroes category ally in the same turn, which can be pretty easy. So I'm liking his design. I think they handled him pretty well. Looks like defensively he's going to be really good, and then, you know, in slot 1, you get this for the 5 turns, and he could just be really good. So definitely good EZA with him. Next up, we have the Black Masked Saiyan. I think I remember going over his pre-EZA state, and I wasn't really too impressed. So I don't think this guy's going to be that great, but I guess let's find out. Super attack effect, 30% attack and defense for 1 turn. Lowers attack and defense. Pretty good, I guess. 30% attack and defense is nice. Passive is that it gets 3 key, 160% attack and defense when attacking, an additional 120% to attack and defense, performs an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super, and then a high chance of performing a critical hit when there are 3 or more crossover category allies on the team. And then he gets a crit when facing an enemy whose name includes Goku, and that's it. Okay, yeah, this guy sucks. Yeah, okay, never mind. All right, yeah, very bad. I was right at the beginning. He sucks. Overall, who am I saying is the best? EZA Dark Masked King is really good. Mira can be pretty good because he's a stacker, but he's definitely not the best. This guy's a good support, definitely not the best, though. Not really a big fan of this guy. Demon Goddess Towa actually is really crazy. Broly's not really the best, and then Vegito. So I'm saying Vegito, and then Dark Masked King. I think those are the 2 best EZAs. So if you do have them in your box, make sure you awaken them. Make sure, you know, super attack, hit a potential system, all that crap. Because definitely, you know, very good EZAs here. So, few more things to go over. We are getting new stages to the Super Dragon Ball Heroes Red Zone stage, this thing right here. We should be getting, I think, 2 stages, stages 4 to 6. So actually 3 stages, because we're getting 4, 5, and then 6. Should be pretty exciting. You can see some of the bosses right here. I think Hearts is coming. We're getting the Golden Metal Cooler and then Lags. So definitely pretty good with that. And then also there is a new burst mode incoming, and the 2 categories for this are Dragon Ball Heroes and then Crossover. It's probably what you could expect, but I mean 2 pretty solid categories considering everything coming in this celebration is based around that. So this should be pretty easy for most players. And then also a new Super Battle Road stage got announced. So this is Defenders of Justice. I mean, it should be pretty easy. A lot of, you know, Dragon Ball Heroes units are on there as well. So same thing with this, really. Most of the units in the celebration are centered around this category. So definitely should be very easy. And then the final couple units we got to go over is the EZA for the free-to-play Lags, and then the EZA for the Trunk Xeno. So the translations are a little weird for this because they're directly translated from the Dokkan wiki. So if I get a couple things wrong here and there, my apologies. I'm, you know, kind of an idiot, so I might get some of this wrong. But whatever. From a brief glance over their kits, they both kind of suck anyway. So it's not that big of a deal. But if you really like them, I guess we can go and go over it really quick. So the free-to-play Lags, her super attack effect is that she raises attack and defense, causes immense damage to the enemy, and then lowers attack and defense, and then seals. So definitely a lot of good stuff for Super Battle Road right there, and even good stuff for any event because the 30% attack and defense is nice. And their passive is that she gets 160% attack and defense. She gets another 80% attack and defense on Super. She has a medium chance to dodge just for free, which is nice. I think that solidifies. Probably go full dodge with her. And then when there are 2 or more allies on the Dragon Ball Heroes category on your team, you get 2 key and then another 20% chance to dodge. So we're looking at a 50% chance to dodge already from those things right there. I mean, that's not that difficult to get. 2 or more Dragon Ball Heroes category allies on the team shouldn't really be that difficult most of the time, because I feel like you're running her on Dragon Ball Heroes or crossover most of the time. So, I mean, that should be pretty easy to get. And then when attacking, if the target enemy's HP is below 80%, her attack will increase by 80%. And then also she gets a additional that has a high chance of becoming a super. So definitely pretty good at that. The additionals are going to help her defensively because she does get this 30% defense right here. And then every time you attack an enemy that is in attack down or defense down status, stun or sealed, then she gets a 10% chance to crit up to 50%. Okay, so yeah, sorry, a lot of confusing stuff there, but you can see no guard, no damage reduction. She does have some dodge, which is nice, but it's only 50% chance. And you could tell because she's a free-to-play unit, her stats are probably going to be very low. So if you do manage to receive a couple attacks, you're probably going to get cooked. So I recommend full dodge, and that's really about it with her. I mean, she's kind of solid, I guess, but nothing crazy. And then next up, we do have the free-to-play Trunks Zeno. Yeah, this guy's not that good either. Actually, I was really disappointed with this guy, I'm going to be honest. I was expecting him to be pretty solid because we don't get that many buffs to, like, these Xenoverse units. But, yeah, unfortunately, he really ain't that great. So super attack effect is that he raises defense for 1 turn, causes immense damage to the opponent, greatly lowers defense. I mean, I guess that's pretty alright. 30% defense is a good little effect on there. And then his passive is that he gets 100% attack and defense, and then when there's 1 enemy, he gets 3 ki, and then another 100% attack and defense. And then he gets another 150% defense when there's 2 or more enemies. And then when there's another Defenders of Justice category ally on the team, he gets another 100% attack and defense, and then gets guaranteed crits. And then if you're not the only Defenders of Justice category ally on the turn, so if you have another, I guess, Defenders of Justice category unit on the same turn, he gets a high chance of a Scouter. Okay, I wish it was guaranteed, but that's still pretty useful. And then for every Defenders of Justice category ally on the rotation, he gets 1 ki, up to 3, and then 7% attack and defense, up to 35%. So it's on the turn, not on the rotation, sorry. But this really doesn't matter anyway, only 35% to stats. I mean, that's kind of low. The 3 ki can be pretty nice because he's a TUR, but this definitely should have been a lot higher. I don't really know what they were doing with that one. But finally, he also gets 100% defense and then a high chance to crit when attacking an extreme class enemy. So I'm not saying this guy's completely useless, but this feels like a pre-EZA unit. I promise it's not. You can see here, this is him EZA. This is pre-EZA, this is EZA. So definitely something. I mean, they were cooking up something. It's not good, but they were cooking something. I'll give them that. They burnt it, though, because this is not a good unit whatsoever. All right, so I completely forgot to go over the free-to-play Towa, but still got the opportunity to do this, throw it in the video, so I want to go over her really quick, and then we're going to call it a video. So her leader skill is Dragon Ball Heroes category 3 ki, HP and attack and defense plus 50%. Her super attack is that she greatly raises attack for 1 turn and then causes immense damage to the opponent. And then her passive is that she gets attack and defense plus 150%, an additional 100% to attack and defense when she gets her super off. And then she has a 30% chance to avoid enemies' attacks in the 2nd or 3rd slot. So that's a medium chance to dodge in slot 2 and 3. So that could be pretty useful. I mean, full dodge with her, really. I think that solidifies that, right? And then when there's 3 or more extreme class allies on the team, excluding yourself, you get attack and defense for all allies plus 20%. Okay, so a little bit of a support. That's definitely nice. And then when all allies in the same team are Dragon Ball Heroes category units, she changes... I think she Rainbow Orb changes and then increases all allies ki by 1 and then 10% attack and defense and then gets another 50% attack and defense on super. So a little bit of dodge, which I guess is nice, but not that much. I mean, you could tell it's a free-to-play unit. They definitely don't go crazy with the free-to-play units. So didn't expect a whole lot, but she looks like she could be pretty solid with her EZA. Maybe if they make her a little bit of a better of a support and then a little bit more dodge. But I guess that pretty much has been the video. Let me know which unit you thought was the best in this whole batch of units. Me personally, that Super Saiyan 4 Vegito was really good. And then also the EZA Towa. And then I guess Dark Mask King. I think those are the 3 real kings out of this data download. But let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments about all of these units. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.